stress is sometimes good for us. You sometimes say that it's so good for us because it helps keep you on edge. We stress every single day,
elevates,
5 minutes all the time. Should we then be aiming to create a life without stress? Would that work? Would it be good for us? Tell us.
Okay, so my analogy for life is that there is absolutely no perfect balance, and we need to aim for dynamic balance. So if you consider that life is like a seesaw, you're going to have ups and downs all the time. A seesaw is rarely in perfect balance. And so let's keep that front of mind and center, is that as long as the seesaw is moving up and down, you're okay. It's when the seesaw gets stuck up or stuck down that you have a problem. And right now, one of the issues that we have, of course, is this feeling of being stuck like in first gear. Remember when you were learning how to drive a manual car for the first time? And when you got stuck in first gear, or maybe those people who are listening who've got children who are in matric right now getting their driver's licenses know that feeling.
You're going to stress people out. Please don't even bring it up.
That grating feeling of being stuck in first gear, that's what you don't want. You want to be able to drop down your gears into cruise mode in between those intense high periods of performance. But it's not as easy as that. I get it. I really do.
What is the difference between positive, good stress and negative stress, which can take its toll?
So there are two words, and we forget this. We think that all stress is bad. There is distress, which is the negative stress, and there is eustress, which is the positive stress. And if you think about an elastic band, so I've got an elastic band here, and I think you've got some elastic bands on your table.
Shoot Jamie? No, I won't shoot you. I promise I won't shoot you.
Okay, listen, this is not about shooting cats, but if you consider, if you've got quite a loose elastic band, okay? So right now, this isn't fun. But if we double our elastic band over, it starts becoming a lot more fun when there's a little more pressure.
Now we've got the tension.
And if you actually sit and fiddle with an elastic band, you find that you knot it and you put it in and out of your fingers and you fiddle with it. The only way this becomes fun is when there's a bit of pressure or tension. And I love this as a visual metaphor and a very sort of tangible way of understanding pressure and tension. You need just enough in order to be effective and to perform. And I've got a wonderful story about a matriculant, because right now we've got matriculants. And in matric is a very interesting example of what happens when there's not enough pressure and tension in a system.
It's a really interesting one, and I suppose we want to feel like ultimately we have control over the scenario. We don't want to feel like we are just a product of our environment, and i.e. the stress kind of affecting us in that way, but that we choose how we want the stress to affect us. But if we are, as you said, caught in that like pup, that gear one, and we just can't get out of that, and maybe we can return to your popped elastic band analogy, how do we unslump ourselves? How do we get out of that pup feeling?
Yeah, so there's a big difference between being caught in first gear, which is when you're in overwhelm and distress and you're heading for burnout, and then not having enough pressure and tension in the system, and you feel like the elastic band is popped and you feel pop. So this matriculant that I was counseling, and the same happens to extreme sportsmen and people who are in companies where there's a lot of delivery and reporting or a big project that's being launched. When you get to the end of the project, it's like, there's no more pressure and tension in the system. So this lovely story of this matriculant who came to see me because her marks dropped 20% in her prelims, and she was no longer in the running to get into the university course she wanted to do. And she'd actually been an extreme sportswoman and had gone off to the Junior World Olympic Rowing Championships just before prelims.
Wow.
So imagine, these matriculants who are in first rugby teams and who are maybe top ballerinas and spend time on the stage. They're busy 5, 6, 7 days a week. And then you're in a situation suddenly before matric exams, prelims or finals, where you don't have all of that pressure and tension that you're used to. You don't have the team to report to. You don't have the nutritionist, the coach, the fitness coach, the audience. And suddenly there's not enough pressure and tension in that system. So I had to sit with her and I gave her this elastic band, and she worked out very quickly that she didn't have enough pressure and tension in her system. So she was swanning around watching TV and wasting time, which is why she wasn't studying, and there was not enough pressure and tension. We even added into her her weekly routine. In the middle of matric exam, she started coaching rhythmic gymnastics. She was doing ergo fitness sessions just by choice to add in pressure. So, we talk about having a list, a to-do list. When there's nothing to do, there's no pressure or tension, and we need that. I've just had that for the weekend. 4 days of writing no lists was fantastic. But I do have a list for today already. I've got 20 things on my list. I know I won't do them all, but having a list that gives you some direction, some focus, and an expectation to achieve and finish certain things really does work. So we have to, and this is my success cube, we can discuss this another time, but your skills are important. Your work rate is important. So work rate is very much connected to getting the pressure and tension right. And of course, your attitude underpins everything.
I think the bottom line here we can take away is not all stress is bad. But of course, Nikki, where can our viewers find out more about how to build their resilience muscle, as you call it?
Yes, so building your resilience muscle is one of the sections of my new book, Future Proof Yourself. And you can get hold of that at nikkibush.com or in any good bookstore.